Bear with me. We're going to go live any second here. Hello. So we are live here on YouTube. You could please go to our website, which is youtube.com/@the-Jesus-Gospel. At the Jesus Gospel. That's where we are. And every week we do a Bible study every Thursday, 6 p.m. New York time, and we publish it to YouTube there. And then I happen to publish this on Joe Hoff, which is a national news site. This message, I'm repurposing content. And then I take this whole video, this whole half hour, and split it into 20, 25, 30 little vignettes, and I share those during the week. So we're getting organized and getting the word out. So today, what I want to do is, again, along the lines of getting organized, I want to be able to share the Bible verses that I am talking about in advance, so that in a more of a simpler way, so that we can I don't have to spend time, so to speak, just trying to find the Bible verses. So we're gonna. I found a way to do that in my notes, so I can just click on it. So today the meeting is about, the teaching is interesting. I'm excited about this one. There is the no need for God commandment. What am I talking about? No need for God. Well, the law of attracting church, okay? And we're talking about the difference between attracting, inviting, or reaping or gathering, okay? And there is a huge difference between the two, okay? Now, almost all American churches today, what we can be called inviting churches, okay? They invite people to attend. They practice the art of inviting, they practice the art of attracting others to it. They are seeker-friendly, welcoming churches. It is a nice place to be, okay? I knew a young pastor many years ago who attended a conference where there was an expert who spoke at how to increase your membership for your church. And I said, well, what was his ideas? He said, basically, the bottom line was of the conference: clean bathrooms, nice parking lots, clean chairs, nice music, nice stages. Notice that I didn't call it an altar, I called it a stage. In order to invite people, to attract people. Did you hear that? Attract. Now, doesn't that sound a lot like the law of attraction? Now, the law of attraction is a philosophy purporting that positive thoughts bring positive results, negative thoughts bring negative results. Genius, duh, okay? Big deal. A positive mindset will attract more success and happiness than a negative one. This law, so to speak, is supposed to apply to all areas of our life, including health, finances, and relationship. So the people who follow this law spend their time attempting only to think positive thoughts, because if I think a positive thought, I'm only going to have positive results in my life. They can become pretty arrogant people because they dissociate with some other people. They say, well, you're giving me negative energy. I don't need that negative energy. I need to think positive thoughts so positive things come by my way. So I'm not going to be your friend anymore because you give me negative energy. And this could be a friend, a family, anybody. So this is what the law of attraction is. It came about in about the early 1900s, 1907, but it really blew up in 2006 with the book and the movie The Law of Attraction. And I was involved with organizations that are promoting this law of attraction. I was at big meetings, doing work. I wasn't part of it, where supporting the thing where they were treating people on the law of attraction, the law of positive thoughts, blah, 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 blah. However, let's be honest. Where is God in the equation? Think positive thoughts, positive things will come your way. Positive thoughts, positive things. And where is God in that equation? He's not anywhere. Okay. This law of attraction is devilish because it eliminates God. Think good thoughts and you will be happy. who needs God? I mean, if you can just concentrate on good thoughts, and only good thoughts, things will happen to you. Why do I need to pray? Why do I need God? And there's a lot of people that practice this. Listen, as you know, the devil cannot create anything. Okay, creation can only be from God. God creates. The devil distorts what God has already created. That means the law of attraction, in its true sense, had to have its original origin in the Bible. And it does. And it is from the second commandment from the Old Testament that Jesus quoted. Now I'm going to go there and I'm going to share that with you. And I'll share the screen, and we can stay on that screen for a while. So I'm on the Bible Gateway. It's pretty neat. It'll allow me to share the screen and not try to find it in my Bible app by typing it in. So I just click on it. So uh, in the NIV, this is the second law. This is Jesus speaking now, and this is coming from the Ten Commandments. So 10 Commandments. And the first law, love your God with all your heart, with all your mind, with all your soul. The second commandment is love your neighbors as yourself. There is no commandment greater than these. There's no commandment greater than those, which is great. That's the love thy neighbor as yourself. Now, I'm going to point something out to you that almost no Christian understands and knows. They miss the point on this, that Jesus amended this golden rule. This thing is called the golden rule, right? Love others as you would have them love yourself, right? Um, the second commandment asks you to match your love of others for the love of yourself. If you love yourself much, you have to love each other's more. But the weakness is if you don't love yourself much, well, then you don't have to love others as much either. So that's kind of the weakness in the second commandment. Well, Jesus Christ fixed that when he amended it. Because some people do not love themselves as much as they should. Let's be honest. So Jesus Christ replaced the love of yourself to the love of Jesus that demonstrated by his laying down his life for us. Now, later on in Jesus's ministry, he amends this, and this is in John. Now, I want to point out that in my book, as you know, the Jesus Gospel, which is a chronology of of the four Gospels. I took the four Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, word for word, mashed them together into a single chronology story, only using the words of the Bible. It is endorsed by Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas. You can get my book at jesusgospel.com, jesusgospel.com. And I do want to point out that the second verse occurs later in the chronology. So the first verse we just read, Mark 12:31, love your neighbor as yourself, the second commandment, that came in chapter 17. But this next verse comes in chapter 19. So we're going to go there, and that's John. Do you see that? What do you see? You see John there? Bruce, what verse? I want to make sure you see the right verse. John, Bruce, you're muted. Bruce, you're muted. Bruce.
There you go. Can you hear me now?
Yes. Can you see John?
Yes, we can. A new command I give you.
Okay, good. Thank you. I'm using this new software. I want to make sure it works. So
Yes.
this is later in the chronology of Jesus Christ's life. So he gave the command earlier. Now there's a change, an amendment, an update, right? Okay. A new commandment I give to you. Love one another as I have loved you. I hope everybody can read that. Sometimes it's not as the
Yes, it's large enough.
okay. So now the commandment, we have to love each other, regardless if I don't love myself. Because the second commandment is originally written, if I don't love myself, then I'm not required to love others. That's kind of the loophole, as they say, right? But now Jesus fixes that later in his ministry. A new command to replace it. Love one another as I How did Jesus love us? He laid himself down. Now, we are supposed to lay our lives down for others figuratively, not kill ourselves, not cause us pain, but, but humbly offer our lives as a service to other people so that they can see the benefits of Christianity. So they will know you're disciples if you love one another. So we have to love those in the body of Christ. And it's not what denomination, what church you go to. It's Christians. It's every Christian. We have to love one another. And this is a new commandment that Jesus says, and it takes the self out of it. Now remember, the book, okay, the law of attraction, it was all about self. That's all it was. But we know the self, and Bruce, can you mute, please? I'm hearing loud clicking. I'm sorry.
Yes. Yeah, I'll take it.
So I appreciate it. I did it. All right. Christianity is not about ourselves, it's about Jesus Christ. We're supposed to empty ourselves. I've heard that say, and love people as Jesus loved us. It's not easy. I'm not going to tell it's easy, and I have difficulty also. But God does not want us to die literally for each other. He just wants us to love each other, and that's the real challenge. Okay, and there's no quid pro quo there. Okay. Now, the quid pro quo means it's a Latin phrase. You mean you get something for something. You know, you've heard that term. One hand washes the other. You got my back, I got your back. Okay. That's what a quid pro quo is. Okay. And the quid pro quo is, I'm going to go to Matthew 5:46. So let's go there. And Bruce just wanted to ask if you see Matthew 5:46.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much. So this is really interesting, and this is pretty intense. If you love those who love you, what reward will you get? Okay, God wants us to love everybody, love your enemies. But if I just love those who love me, what's the big deal? Uh, Even the tax collectors do that. Even the pagans do that. If you only greet your own people, what are you doing better than them? Nothing. It's the implication. If you're only comfortable with people, okay, that you're comfortable with, that in your circle, there's no benefit. And that benefit means your inheritance. What do you get when you die and go to heaven? Okay, what do you get? Well, God says there is inheritance. There is a reward that we get. Do we know what that reward is? No, we don't know. But God does say that we can't even comprehend the good things that He has in store for us in the future. So don't worry about the bad things that are happening today because they can't be compared. And that's exactly what Jesus Christ did. He went through the worst evils so that he could have the best life after. Now, yeah, continuing, don't even the pagans do that? He says, be perfect as your heavenly Father is perfect. So now I want to talk about what this law of attraction has done, because in 2006, it kind of exploded in America, but it did have an effect on the churches. Okay. And we're going to walk through what that effect was. Okay. When church is concentrating on attracting people, it's designed to make them feel like, hey, this is a place of success. This is a comfortable place. This is a friendly place. You are welcome. We are welcoming church. You know, we're marketing the church as the place to be. Let's be honest. We're inviting them in to become internally focused. We're basically internally focused. We have to make everything here look good. Okay. Okay. We have to attract the right people. It has to be safe. We have to make it safe for people. So if I'm of a certain economic group or ethnic group or certain age, I want to be around people my age, my ethnic group. So then we cater we market to those groups so they feel comfortable. You know, being comfortable is nothing, is something Jesus Christ never said. It says once you become Christian, you're going to be afflicted. um, remember the above verse that said, if you only greet your own people, that's what starts happening in churches. You only start greeting the people you're familiar with, the people that are successful. And what happens is the focus becomes, okay, we've got to look good so we get more people in here. So let's make sure the carpet is new and clean. The bathrooms are clean and new. We have to have easy parking. We have to have greeters. We have to have childcare. We have to have great music. We have to have fantastic lighting. It's all marketing the show, so to speak, is the entertainment. It becomes, let's be honest, a certain part of entertainment. The attitude of attracting, inviting, began in the 2006, and it happened before, but it really took off with the mega churches. Remember? I used to go to a small church, and what would happen is they would have groups and meetings and inter-church groups, and people would go and they would look and say, "Wow, their bathrooms are cleaner, their seats are nicer, they have better music." And what happens at these smaller churches used to lose a lot of people. Why? Because it was, if all the churches are marketing, right, then the one that has the most to offer is going to get the more people. So obviously, the bigger churches can afford a bigger stage, more musicians, a bigger parking lot, a nicer looking vestibule. All these things are attracting. And then once you attract the people, what happens is the church becomes a little bit of a country club. People concentrate on fixing that carpet, getting better chairs. We need to get a fundraiser for a music system. These are all things I've lived through a parking lot. And these are what becomes important to a church when they are internally focused. Um, and then people that don't necessarily feel important at work sometimes look to the church as a place to get their relevancy, to get that importance. So it becomes a country club. Okay. It becomes a way that people can be around other people and feel good. And then you get some social climbers within the church. Oh, I want to be close to the pastor. I want to be recognized. I want to be this. I want to do that. And very little of the focus, not all of it, but very little is about reaping, gathering. It's all about inviting, attracting. It's almost like a reality TV show. It's not a place of love. It's not a growing church. I had a pastor tell me, years ago, that in order for a church to be financially successful, they need about 300 members. Once they get to 300, they're pretty much set financially for themselves and the family. Some churches get comfortable at that point, okay? And what hurts me is I've seen this in churches is that they are comfortable when somebody leaves. And you know what? When somebody leaves your family, how comfortable is that?
It's not.
It's not comfortable. You know, I was taught that if somebody leaves, you call them, you ask them what's wrong. You kind of connect with them so that you know what's going on, and maybe you can address the situation. I'll give you an example. I met this woman at the grocery store. We talked briefly. She said she wanted to come to the Bible study. I had a sense God kind of said to my spirit, I think she's interested in you, Gary, not the Bible, but that's fine. Just let it go. They didn't say anything, but that's what God showed me. And that's exactly what happened. She wasn't interested. She was sending me little notes like, "Oh, sweetie, hello," and things like that. And well, that wasn't my interest. So, but I called her. She said she was going to attend the next time. She didn't come. I texted her and I called and I gave her 3 or 4 times. I gave her, I laid myself down. I wanted her to attend. So these are the type of things that we as Christians should really do. Really don't be comfortable. Go out and reach out to these people. I love Acts 17:27 and NIV. Reach out because God is not far. No matter how far away from God you think you are, He's never far from you.
Mm.
Okay. and we need to treat ourselves as a loving family. There's nothing wrong with any of the things I mentioned above. I'm not putting down churches. I'm sorry if you think that way. No, I just think that some of our attention needs to be a little bit different. Now, there is a very interesting verse. This is a little bit detailed, and we're going to get into it. It's John 4:35. So we're going to get into that now. And just tell me, you see it, Bruce?
Yes, yes, it's there.
Okay, now let's go through slowly because this is very interesting. Do not say there are 4 months and then comes the harvest. Before I say to you, now, what's the harvest? The people that we need to bring, harvest, reap, gather into Christianity. That's what he's talking about. Lift up your eyes and look on the fields, they are white to harvest. And when you look at America, do you see a people yearning for God, or do you see a lost people? Do you see people not interested? I see a lost people. Sometimes I will go to a concert or a theater with thousands of people, and my heart would just go out to them because there's a lack of Christ feeling there. Now, this is interesting. Let me give you some context. This verse is from the woman at the well. Now you know the story of the woman at the well. Jesus goes to the well. He sends his disciples to get food into town, so he's alone. He meets this woman who had I think, 5 husbands, and the person she's living in was not her husband. And Jesus talks to her, and she goes, "You are a prophet." And he says, and he said some things that just really amazed her. Let's see if we can get her a little bit earlier here. You can see this.
Mm-hmm. Yep, yep, it's changed.
This is the story of the woman at the well.
Mm-hmm.
She came water. She said, "Give me a drink," and and she says, "I'm not a Jew. You're not supposed to ask me to drink. I mean, this is not appropriate." And by the way, in the middle of the day, that's not the time that women were supposed to draw water from the well. Since she was kind of a
Oh, okay.
questionable woman like that, she had to go at the time of the hottest part of the day when other women who didn't have a bad reputation had to. So, this is the story. And he goes, "Hey, if you knew me, I would give you water, living water, that you never be thirsty." She goes, "Yeah." She goes, "Fantastic. I'm tired of coming to this well. Give me a glass of water that never empties." Now, of course, he was talking about the Holy Spirit. Um, and then he says to her, uh, I go call your husband and have him come. And she says, "Well, I have no husband." He says, "Well, okay, I know you have no husband, for you have had 5 husbands, and the one you're living with now is not your husband." And she goes, "You're a prophet." And then she immediately switches to, "Well, our fathers worshipped in this mountain. Tell us what mountain we should worship in." Bottom line is, Jesus, um, Jesus amazed her with his teaching, that to the point that she goes into the town. Now, where were the disciples? In town.
Yep.
She goes into town and witnesses to them, and the whole town comes out to hear Jesus. And many people were saved that day. Let's see it. Yeah. Sorry. And here he goes. And she goes into the city. "Come and see the man told me things I have done. Isn't this the Christ?" And the whole city comes out. So now Jesus kind of reprimands And this reprimand is not obvious, okay? It's not obvious what he's saying here. So I wanna point it out to you. Don't you say there are 4 months, then comes the harvest, right? He's talking to his disciples. Behold, I say to you, lift up your eyes and look, the fields are white for harvest. People lacking the Lord, that's the harvest. Already he who reaps is receiving wages and is gathering fruit for life eternal, so that he that sows and he who reaps may rejoice together. He goes on to say, um, in this case, one who sows, another reaps. I sent you to reap for what you did not labor for. Others have labored and you've entered into that labor. Let me break this down, okay? Because this is interesting. This verse is referring to disciples that did not witness to the town. Remember, they went to the town to get food. Did they witness? No. The woman witnessed to the town. The whole town came out, right? And Jesus was saying, "Hey guys, look, she did this work. She sowed and she reaped. And now you are going to do supporting work. Okay? You are doing the supporting work. Others labored and you have entered into the labor." So the implications here is the people that sow and reap get a higher wage than the people that support. You know what? This is true in business even today. The salesman today will typically get a higher salary, a higher wage than the office people that submits the paperwork in. And that's exactly what Jesus Christ is saying. Okay? Okay, you have to support the people that come to church. They're supporters, people coming to church. But who's bringing people in? Well, we're just inviting people. We're inviting people. Well, we have to stop inviting because the law of attraction is the law of no God. We don't need God because it's just we have positive thoughts. Our church looks great. Everything's fantastic. We have the best musicians. We have the best parking. Everybody's just going to come. And you will get people, but it's not God's way. God's way is go out there and reap. Go out there and gather the people. Okay, so let's talk about it. Let me give you some synonyms. Reaping is appealing, alluring, attempting, pleasing, engaging, fascinating, welcoming, enticing, requesting, bidding, summoning, calling, encouraging, attracting, luring, okay, enticing, inducing, and provoking. All those things, you know, they're not all terrible, but some of them they don't sound great either. We're luring people in. Okay, that's not what you want to do. But reaping is gathering, is earning, securing, winning, obtaining, acquiring, procuring, realizing, deriving, gathering, garnering, collecting, picking, gleaning, all positive things. So that's why the person that reaps gets a higher reward than the person that sits in the pews and just says hello to the person that's coming to church for the first time. So I just want to give a couple examples, and I'm going to show you right now, and then we're going to finish here. What is an alternative? Okay, and the alternative is basically, and there's nothing wrong with churches today, but we need to have more home churches, especially when persecution is going to come upon us. You can see this, right? Right?
Yes, yes, it's there.
Okay. A house church is a small group of Christians who meet for worship in homes for in a non-traditional setting. Well, it was traditional in the book of Acts. That's all they did. They met in homes. There was no need for stages, no need for musicians, no need for parking. It was just come to my house. It was a small group. So the group maybe be now these groups sometimes are part of a larger church or entirely separate from a Christian community. It's just people searching for a deeper level of the service for God. And Lois, God bless you. I know you're searching for that in your home. So here's some examples. Philemon 1:2. Paul, a prisoner of Jesus, and Timothy, our brother, to Philo, my dear friend and fellow worker, also to Agrippa and his sister I can't pronounce this, Agrippus, and fellow soldiers, church that meets in your home. See, the church, the people that meet in your home. Okay, grace and peace. Acts 16:40, Lydia's house. After Paul and Silas came out of prison, they went to Lydia's house where they met with the brothers and sisters and encouraged them. How did they encourage them? They taught and they prayed and they listened to their needs and concerns. Colossians 4:15, Nympha's house. Give my greetings to the brothers and sisters at Laodicea and to Nymphaea and to the church in her house. Wait a second. Women can't be pastors, right?
Sure, they can.
Of course they can. Were women pastors in the New Testament? Yes. Here it is. The church in Nympha's house. Okay, she is listed as the leader of this meeting. So God doesn't limit the growth of Christianity by a gender. Okay, doesn't. Romans 16:3-5, Priscilla and Aquila. I love the word Priscilla because that was my mother's name. Uh, Greet Priscilla and Aquila, my co-workers in Christ Jesus. They risked their lives for me. Not only I, but all the churches of the Gentiles are grateful to them. Greet also the church that meets in their home. Okay, there you go. It meets in their home. There's many other churches. All the other churches are in other people's homes. And lastly, Acts 20 verses 7 and 8. On the first day of the week, when they gathered together to break bread, Paul began talking to them, intending to leave the next day, and he proclaimed his message until midnight. And there were many lamps in the upper room. Now, that upper room was part of somebody's home.
Yeah.
Okay? It was not in the temple. So you could see it's pretty much established there that churches were in the home. There was more fellowship. There was more gathering together. There was more intimacy. I'm not taking away from the big churches, but I'm just giving an alternative that we have to be prepared. We have to start gathering people. And you don't have to gather people by asking for money for a building. They're building a church, a brand new church about a mile from my house right now. Big, relative, medium-sized church. Got to gather a lot of money. It costs millions of dollars, but you don't need that money. You just can have people in your home. So I just want to say at this point, God bless you. Read the word, gather. Don't invite, reap, and read the reward.